Avast, you mateys. Avast. Throw you in the brig. Walk the plank. I'm Laz.
And I am Cody.
Mhm. We're not across the pond, but across
The
the
other
other
pond,
pond. Hey.
the show where we discuss whether or not every flavor of Pringles is gooder.
hmm Well, I mean, like, the ranch, is there ranch flavored Pringles?
There's 100% ranch flavored Pringles.
I feel like that might not be true. There might be sour cream and onion, but maybe not ranch.
This is how we're starting the episode today. I'm going to pull up a list of Pringles flavors.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Um, like when you go to, oh wait, but I don't think they have Pringles in China. They have like Lay's baked chips that are like copies of the Pringles, but they'll have like all these really crazy flavors. Like one of my favorites actually was cucumber.
Oh,
It's such a nice
that
like
sounds
little.
so refreshing for a
Yeah,
chip.
it is really. Oh my god, it's addictive. That's like my favorite like Asian flavor, because like what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Asian flavors are like,
They're fucking
it's almost
wild.
like, yeah, it's just like so much. I don't know. It's just like things that we would never think of. Like literally, I was at the Asian market the other day and I saw Lay's. It was like Mexican lobster salsa. And it was like, that sounds like a fever dream. It's like someone just like had like a fever dream at Lay's company in like headquarters in Asia, and just like, yeah, write this down, make this into reality.
It
Bring
also
it to the
sounds like they
people.
had two large vats next to each other. One was salsa and one was lobster. And they just, somebody accidentally knocked it over in like a Simpsons-esque escapade of knocking
That's
things over.
exactly
And
what I
then
was
somebody was like,
thinking.
that's pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, to be honest, though, like, we did have those, and I missed the Lay's flavor contests.
Yeah, I remember those.
There,
And
one
those
of
were
them
also
was
crazy ideas.
cappuccino. There was chicken waffles. Man, those were good.
The
One of
chicken and
my
waffles were
favorite.
solid. They were like a nice, sweet, and salty chip.
Yeah, that was good. And I think at the same time you had the wasabi ginger ones. Oh my god, dude. I ate like a whole bag by myself, and I kind of like, how like you have like, you black out sometimes, like eating like Thanksgiving dinner or something. Like I think I just kind of blacked out after eating it all, and I was just like, where am I? It was so good. Anyway, so
speaking of, back to the Pringles topic, they do have ranch. According to delish.com, ranch is the second best flavor.
Really?
Behind original.
Okay, that original being the best. What? Come on.
I don't know, man. I do like original chips.
I mean, barbecue. Come on, like barbecue. It's got to be barbecue.
See, but barbecue is a lot. Like I don't think I could sit and eat a whole barbecue tin. Like I got to take a break from eating barbecue. I could eat original chips just like for hours and get 500 pounds and be really, like, what have I been eating?
Well, it really depends on the rubric of like, analysis that we're basing this on, right?
That's
are we talking about eatability over time, or are we thinking like, okay, what is the enjoyability of just one chip, right? So you got to think about these are the questions. These are the questions. When you go to the pearly gates, these are the questions that Gabriel is going to ask you. He's going to be like, what's the eatability of a Pringles chip over time? And you'll be like, if you haven't thought about it, you'd be stumped and you can't get in.
Stumped and you're locked out. You're stuck. You're just stuck there.
Yeah. Or you just fall through the clouds because clouds aren't actually steppable. If that, I'm making up a lot of words here. Eatability, like enjoyability, stepability, anything disability, like maybe a door can have durability, right? Durability. Okay, well, let's.
You know what the worst favorite they listed here?
Uh-huh.
Original, lightly salted. And you know what? I'm going to agree with that. If you lightly salt a Pringle, that's actually just not a chip.
Well, hold
There's
on,
no
hold
flavor.
on. No, okay, I like, because that would be even. Okay, you know what? I have a problem with this because if you get the original flavor, you can just call that salt flavor. And then if you really want an original, then you would just not put salt on it. You would just have the bare naked potato, you
Right,
know?
but that's not the original flavoring. The original flavoring is how much salt they put on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is salt flavor. It's a red herring. It's false advertisement. I want it to be called salted. Just like it's like, okay, peanuts. You have just original, which is just nothing on it, it's just roasted, and then you have salted peanuts. Unsalted, salted, Like, what would you call original? Would you call it the salted or would you call it the unsalted? And you're going to say the salted because you're going to play devil's advocate against me.
The original peanut is the peanut that's still in the nut.
Touche. Yeah, and I just eat.
Although I think you can get those in salted and unsalted varieties as well.
Well, and also this is probably going to be an unpopular opinion, but I like to eat the shell of peanuts. I just like to eat the entire thing. Sometimes I like to suck on this shell because it's salty,
I used to do that all the time. I used to suck on the shell because it was so salty. Mm. And I was a small child who liked salt a lot. Mm-hmm. I was like a snail, except I didn't die when I ate a bunch of salt. That's the opposite. Snails hate salt. What am I doing? I remember specifically one time I was using a lot of salt, and my dad looked at me and he was like, that's doing to your insides what it does to snails.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that's how they get you.
And I vividly remember that, and I was like, yeah, but I'm not a snail.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like how, chocolate can be poisonous, or a better example, like avocados is like violently poisonous against birds, but to us it's like one of the healthiest things, right?
Fucking superfood.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so we talked a lot about Pringles right now, but that's not our topic today.
If you guys want us to become food testers, let us know. Because we'll pivot.
Yeah.
We'll switch this format into food testing.
Exactly. We can do that like Korean video. Like, what is it called?
It's not bukkake.
Yeah. It's like
mukbang.
Mukbang. Yeah. Uh-huh. Or is it fuckbang? Buckbang?
No, that's closer to bukkake.
Yeah. But like, yeah, like we can do that. Like, send us a gratuitous amount of, I don't know, Danishes, and we'll try each of them.
I'd eat a lot of Danishes.
Dude, like we went to a Schnucks yesterday, one of the nicest Schnucks I've ever been to, and I saw those like Schnucks Danishes, like the assorted Danishes. That I remember that was one of like the best memories as a child, is like before you go to school, like you had a whole box of assorted Danishes you can pick from. It's like, man, do I want the apricot one? Oh, do I want the pineapple one? Do I want the cherry one? Oh, like that choice is like, yeah, kind of dodging through the choices just before like a horrible day of school.
I'm picturing you them throwing Danishes at you when you say dodging the choices.
Oh yeah,
like
yeah.
Whipping out Danishes left and right.
It's like my brother comes over and it's like, which one do you want? It's like, do you want blueberry? He throws it over, it's like, and I dodge it like Matrix style. It's like, no. It's like, do you want strawberry? It's like, comes towards my nose and I'm like, I flip backwards. It's like, no. Yeah.
Well, anyway, to round out our month of talking about game developers making a game by themselves, we're going to just talk about all of the ones that we've played and our favorites, and what separates solo game development from a AAA studio or even a small group of people, and fun stuff like that. tangentially related to this, what do you say when it comes, like, I've been thinking about this because I'm managing the social media a little bit. I don't know how to say solo game development in like a way that I feel is easy to understand. Like,
what do
solo
you mean?
game developer could mean somebody who's made just a single game.
Mm-hmm.
Games
Oh, I
developed by
see.
a single developer.
Mhm.
There's just a lot of vaguity, and I don't have a concise way to say that I feel is good solo game
I don't know.
developer.
I keep saying solo game dev games or solo dev games might be good too,
Yeah.
because then you get out the repetition of game. Yeah, I would
Solo
just
dev
call.
game devs.
Yeah, solo game dev games. Yeah, like yeah, I was surprised by some of the stuff that like was on that little article you sent me. What was the one that really popped out to me? There's one game that was on there that was like, hold on real quick. I mean, Tetris being on there was one that was really strange to me.
And that's probably one of the first ones, right? To think about. Like, it's the most sold game of all time, considered to be anyway. And
Mhm.
it came out of Soviet Russia, like in 1984.
Oh, that that actually came out of Russia. I had no
Yeah.
idea. Well, I guess that
Have you
makes
seen the
sense
original
why.
box art? It's got like the
Oh yeah,
Soviet buildings in the
is it
background.
Soviet or it's just like Russian buildings there? Like like the
I mean,
twisty top
considering the
like
time,
little
aren't they
ice cream
all
toss?
in that time Soviet? I guess not built by the
Uh
Soviets.
I don't know. Like I'm pretty sure that was like way before the Soviet Union. But what was the game that really stood out to me? Oh, Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yes, that one is an insane
Oh,
story because he also built it in fucking assembly code, which, as a computer scientist student, blows me away because that was probably my least favorite class to take,
mhm.
was writing anything in assembly code.
I
It,
don't even know what it is.
so you've done a little bit of programming, right? You know, you tell the
Mhm,
computer, hey, do this thing.
mhm.
Assembly code is the step below that type of writing.
Is it
So instead
binary?
of saying for loop do this, you have to go, all right, the loop starts here, and then you do this, and then you do this, and then if you need to go back, you go back here to this spot, which will then skip that next step. You have to tell the computer every single step.
Wait, so you got to actually write out like the and ors kind of loops and
Yeah,
whatnot?
it's like a line by line. This is what the computer puts into the processor.
Oh.
It's
Yeah, like
really difficult to make anything complex.
because like the guy in the article was like it's kind of like building everything out of just Legos.
Yeah, like that you
Uh,
don't have any kind of structure pre-built for you. It's
like
just,
Lego bricks, you know.
yeah, it's,
Mhm,
I cannot fathom. But I will say, if you write an assembly code, your code will run well if it runs at
mhm.
all,
Uh-huh.
because it's direct. Just, your computer doesn't have to do any thinking beyond put this into the processor.
Mhm. Like did you play Coaster Tycoon growing up?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I love Roller Coaster Tycoon. I
Like
played 3 a lot.
what I don't remember which one I played. I think it was just like deluxe. It was like one of the first ones. It was really like old like 1990s early 2000s kind of graphics.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I remember
Like
playing on CRT monitors.
mhm. Yeah, exactly. Um but how would you play that game? Like because like we played it a very sinister way.
um, I would play it like pretty straightforward. I feel like I always play games in the most user designed way. I built a park and I had people go on it, and then they would get to leave, and then I would play the game it's supposed to be played. I feel like you're going to tell a story that you didn't do that.
Me and my brother would a lot of times we would just like get one of the already made parks that were already thriving and see who could kill everyone in the park the quickest. Like we would build roller coasters that were just like one loop that was open, so it would like launch out and then it would just launch everyone out into the air, and the carts would just like disintegrate slowly, and then like it would just like crash, and then it would just be like 400 people died. And then it was like and then it was like we wouldn't close it down. Like people in line were just like, "Huh, well, I guess that looks fun," and they would go on it.
That is the funniest thing. It's no matter what happened on that ride, they just keep going on it.
Yeah. But there's two other things that I remember distinctly. Like, one thing that we would do is like, you know how you had like the do not enter signs?
Yes. Yeah.
Like, and then the people just like it, they would look at it, and even if they were like tired and hungry and like wanting to throw up, like they would just look at it and turn around, you know? And
because you can't go in. Can't go in.
Yeah, what you do is like you'd find a bridge, and then you put do not enter signs on both ends so they can come in, but they can't get out. And so like everyone in the park would flock into this bridge that was over water, and then what you did was delete the bridge and everyone drowned.
You're the type of guys that would have played Sims and then you lock your Sims in the pool or in the basement.
Well, I never really played Sims, like, so yeah, I don't know, probably, but the last one was like a glitch in the game, I think, but it was like you know how you can change the terrain and whatnot?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can bring up mountains and make the flat land into valleys. So what we would do, like when you're in God mode where you have like infinite money, you just like put a whole bunch of people in one space in like the middle of nowhere, and then you bring the terrain up really, really high, really fast, and then you bring it all the way down really, really fast, and then they'll be like in midair, kind of like going down, and then you bring it up really fast, and again, it like clips them through it, and then they just fall into oblivion. And then it would just say, they would just like, it wouldn't even record them as a death or anything. They would just like disappear. Like the counter would just go down, but it wouldn't say anything about it. It wouldn't say that person's missing. It didn't say that they died. It just like they never existed. So yeah, that's how we played Roller Coaster Tycoon for a little bit. But like we also did play it the regular way, like making cool roller coasters and whatnot. But
there are so many cool things to do. You remind me of the copy pasta Mr. Bones Wild Ride.
I've never heard of that.
You haven't heard of this? Oh my goodness, I'll have to link it.
You said it's copy pasta? Not
yeah, so it's
pasta?
from a 4chan post from a long time ago. And it's somebody made a roller coaster in Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 called Mr. Bones Wild Ride that is so long that everybody it like in game time, it's like they're on it for several weeks of just being on the roller coaster. So what it is it's the post is him chronicling their thoughts as they're on the roller coaster. So it's like, I can't wait to get on Mr. Bones Wild Ride. And it's like, I'm getting hungry. I'm thirsty. I want to get off Mr. Bones Wild Ride. And then it's that for weeks of just going around. I want to get off Mr. Bones Wild Ride.
Yeah, I remember that. That was another one of our goals. Because like, me and my brother were always like the kids that made our own goals for things. And so like, one of our favorite things to do, because we thought it was funny, was like make people do stuff like that. Like I remember we had roller coasters that just went on like loops forever, and then everyone would turn green because they wanted to puke, and then they were like, and then you would see their status, and it would be like, I want to get off this ride. I want to get off this ride, and then it would say it's, or like the other thing we do is like, we would like just do things like make like it like a desert park that had like one ride and then a whole bunch of like just walking, and then the tickets would be extremely expensive. We just thought it was ironic.
That they'd pay to walk.
Yeah. And then they would be like, man, I'm having a lot of fun here. It's like, what are you having fun with? What are you having fun with? Your feet like in the pavement in the hot desert sun.
They're learning the lesson of meditation, walking meditation deep in the sun.
Yep, that's exactly what. Like, stay for the asphalt, leave for the stage 1 skin cancer, I suppose. You know.
Oh man, I think when we're talking about solo game development, we got to talk about Minecraft.
Oh, Minecraft!
Minecraft started such a insane like fad of building games.
Mm-hmm. I mean,
like
at least Terraria, right?
Yeah, like Terraria.
That's it.
All these survival games that have come out since really, I think, base their original ideas on Minecraft being just a sandbox where you build stuff and survive the night. And I think it's crazy that it was just Notch making it in 2009. Did you ever play it when it was like first being made and all those beta patches were coming out?
I might have, because I was in high school when I started playing it. It was like towards the end, and me and Peter used to have nights where we just do that for hours and hours and hours. Like to the point I remember, like I'd be still playing and I didn't even realize, like I'd just be like, hey Peter, what, like are you done making that house? And I look over, he's like drooling on his keyboard fast asleep, and I'm like, oh well, okay.
I guess you didn't finish.
Yeah. But I don't know, like when was the first like alphas of that game?
According to that, according to this page, it's 2009, and then later on he founded Mojang, which became a bunch of developers actually working on it, but it doesn't give me the total times that he's doing it on.
He's Swedish, so it's probably pronounced Mojang, because the J is pronounced as a Y.
Oh, you might be right. I've never heard it said out loud.
Yeah, me either. So like I was thinking about that, because in Swedish, like the J is a Y sound. Yeah. So, but like Mojang probably. But like
I remember Peter ran a server for a while that I played on with some friends of mine. And I remember him coming on one time, and somebody had built like a tower that was really tall and it was reaching the peak of it. And he looked at me, he's like, do you want me to just up the world some more and we can keep going up?
Oh yeah, I remember, like I used to, on some of Peter's servers, I used to make some crazy buildings, like especially with music. Like I made a tower of like the chromatic tower. It was just like I remember it was just like a huge tower, and like blocks that would up chromatically, and then you'd get close to it and it would just be like like,
you're like, what is that sound?
Yeah, I just love the ominousness of just like slowly flying towards it and just be like, what is that? Yeah. But yeah, like I have a lot of fond memories of Minecraft, but it's amazing to me how, because like I think that's one of the underlying threads for a lot of these solo dev games is like just the simplicity along with the personality. Because like I think about the music in Minecraft, which is like now so iconic, but it's literally like the main theme is like bum bum dum dum bum 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 bum, right?
Yeah, it's so chill.
Yeah, like I don't know, it's crazy how like one person can make all of that and then sell it to Microsoft for $2.5 billion.
Yeah.
Like Holy shit. I
And
mean,
it
it's
loses a
it's in
lot.
its
I felt
current.
like Minecraft really fell off after being sold like that. It lost a lot of its personality.
Well, they started just adding a whole bunch of bullshit to it, which that happens to most games. I think is like you. I mean, like one of the games that I've been playing way too much lately, RuneScape. Like there's a reason why people like old school RuneScape over the new one,
Yeah.
because like the new one's just like there's just a whole bunch of bullshit that was added to it, and then like RuneScape now, like they only add things when like the vast majority of people want it,
Hmm.
you know? And like I think that's a little better um of a model, but I don't know, cuz like it kind of reminds me of like but I don't have too much to say about it because like I don't play the new versions like the Super Smash Bros series. Like I feel like to me everything peaked at Melee. And then after that, like with the new game where it's just like there's like 50 characters now. It's like
Oh, there's more than 50, I think.
I'm pretty sure, but like it's just I don't know, it's getting a little out of hand, to be honest. It's starting to feel like a child's adventure game. Like what we used to do is like Goku is fighting against SpongeBob, like that
Yeah,
kind of
there are
thing.
80 characters in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe it's because I haven't really played Smash, um, but it like I see that and I'm just like, eh, you know, because it's like the paradox of choice, right? Like you want more choices, but when you have all those choices, you're like, I don't know what to pick now. There's too many choices, you know.
Yeah, which is kind of interesting because Super Smash Bros. Is a character fighter. So when you get good at Smash, you usually just play one character. So
Maybe
even
that's
though all of these options are available, you
mhm,
usually only see those if you're playing in a tournament. And then there's people that are playing different characters and stuff. So there's something said about having more characters is cool, but it's not super necessary, I don't think, if you're having a lot of people with the same style, which they have.
mhm. Which I think that makes me feel a little more comfortable about it because it's kind of like how nowadays like you take a class and it's like this is my seat, no one else's seat. If you take
Mm-hmm.
my seat, then I will kill you. I will kill you in your sleep, you know. But like you know, what is your Smash character? What do you like to play as?
I always played as Marth,
Oh,
or
I was thinking you're a Marth guy.
I was a Marth boy.
Uh,
I'm trying to think if I tried to learn in like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I wanted to play as Simon,
mhm,
and in the DS version, I did pick up Greninja. I've never been
mhm.
like really really good at Smash,
Oops.
and the only character I was like good with was for
Mhm,
a while in college. I played Smash at the esports club,
mhm.
and they had Project M, which was the modded version of Brawl
Oh
that
yeah.
was made by the community basically. So they separated out the Pokemon characters, and I was
Mhm.
really good with Squirtle specifically,
Oh,
and that was
okay.
my main guy. And
Uh-huh.
then Nintendo was like, "Stop making our game good," and
Yeah.
then that disappeared. And then I kind of stopped playing because I didn't like Super Smash Brothers for the 3DS and the Wii U or Ultimate very much.
Mhm. Like, yeah, I was thinking, I was like, maybe I should just guess for you before you said it, because like Marth. Like my brother was a big Marth guy when we were playing Melee back in the day. Um I was like my guy back in the day was Falco. I was a
Nice.
Falco guy.
Falco's cool.
And then when Brawl came out, I kind of switched between Falco and Wolf. Um, and then I also liked Roy, and I would also play as Luigi and Game and Watch sometimes too. So it kind of I think it usually went Falco, Luigi as my second, and my third would probably be Roy. You know, that's kind of what I would do. Mm.
Smash is
But
such a crazy game because there's definitely like tiers of skill. There's like
Mhm.
fun, and then there's like the first level of like competitive, where it feels good, and then as soon as you play people that are really good, it's like actually impossible to win.
I mean, like me playing against you and my brother, like I just feel like it's like trying to climb over like a smooth wall at a 90-degree angle. Like it's just like you guys are just like it's like you guys are so good at video games that I'm just like this isn't fun anymore.
That's kind of, I like have moved away from competitive games as I've gotten older, because when you hit that wall like that, and I like to tell people that want to be good at stuff to always try to take something away from a loss like that. But
Mhm.
in Smash, sometimes you don't feel like there's even like a lesson to learn. There's just you lost.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, there's nothing I could have done better in my skill range to prevent this
Mhm.
loss.
Mhm.
And I didn't learn any lessons. I just got my ass kicked.
Mhm. I mean, like, sometimes an ass kicking in itself is just like a lesson,
Yeah.
kind of like with capoeira, like, um, it's like an art that was started like on the streets, and a lot of the people that got good in the beginning, all they do is all they could do, they didn't have classes or anything. It's just like, hey, there's a howdah over there, like a circle of people doing capoeira. You just jumped in, and then people saw you're a noob, so they'd kick your ass, and then you just keep getting your ass kicked until you start getting good. So, I mean, like that's actually like training with the masters. You forget that that's like a treat in and of itself, because like when are you ever going to get to do that? Sometimes that's much better than just going with a whole bunch of other beginners to a class that might be taught by, I don't know, an intermediate, right?
Yeah. There's an interesting actually concept behind that, because sometimes I agree with you that playing against a master, you can really see like the skill gap. But then
Mhm,
sometimes the skill gap is so vast
mhm,
that you can't even fathom why you're losing. Like, I think that people that play like beginner chess players playing against master, like grandmaster chess people, lose
mhm,
with no understanding of how they lost.
mhm.
Like,
Well, I'm
um, I can't remember his name right now. Fuck. But I watched him play against a noob, and he didn't even, he literally pre-moved the entire game on chess.com. So he predicted every single move that beginner was going to make, and then
mhm.
just won the game. So he didn't even play. He just said, here's all the moves you're going to do, and I win. When the skill gap is that vast, you have no idea what they even are doing to win. It's just you lost.
Uh-huh. Well, I mean, like sometimes I think, I mean, it depends on if a certain skill actually kind of like sparks something with you, because like I think sometimes like seeing a master in all their glory like will just like the sheen from that will be enough just to be like, I don't care how long it takes, I'm going to become that, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that kind of thing. There's like a certain type of like almost worship to it. Um so I don't know, like it really depends on the person. I think a lot of people like I mean, you also need to figure like understand the process behind becoming a master, right? Because I don't think a lot of people actually see all the sweat and tears behind, like, I, for instance, the fire dancers that like throw machetes in the air on fire. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you see that and it's like, whoa, that's so cool. But you don't see like all behind that was probably almost getting killed many times, right? So,
Well, there
yeah.
comes a point where, like, when we go back to the competitive, where learning by getting your ass beat isn't enough, and you actually have to go and learn the skill.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, like, because for instance, yesterday when I was going up against that guy that was doing it for 21 years, he was like kind of guiding me through it, but he was like also throwing some vicious punches and kicks at me too. But
Mm-hmm.
it was the craziest thing. I don't know what like clicked in my brain. It just like I was just like seeing the kicks and punches in like slow motion and was like dodging them, and I was like, this feels so cool. You know? Cuz like I think like instinct kind of kicks in in one sense, like, and I feel like that's something that I've never really um because I know like motor skills and like that kind of unconscious mind and stuff like kicks in and whatnot, but I've never really thought of instinct as a an element in learning, because like unconscious stuff, unconscious learning is like, okay, I've been doing this over and over and over again, and now I can do this in my sleep. But like actions based on instinct, it's just like, oh shit, something's coming after me. I'm gonna go this way, you know. And it you don't even think about it. Actually, you
Hmm.
don't even say I'm going this way. It's like I'm just over here now, you know. And it
Yeah.
just happens in like a split second. It was just like a really crazy experience to get that, but still be feeling very safe because the guy is just like, he was just like, he had everything under control. It was crazy. It's crazy to see people do that. But anyway, like let's get back into talking about game solo dev games. That's what the term we came up with.
Yes, I believe
Um
that's correct.
so what else is on the list here? I mean, we talked about Undertale way too much already. Let's like go
Yeah,
to
I
towards some
wasn't even
other
gonna.
ones.
Well, you have to mention Undertale, but yeah, we've talked about Undertale in the last couple episodes. Go
Mm-hmm.
listen to those if you want us to talk about Undertale some more.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was gonna talk about uh Stardew Valley next because I
Mm-hmm.
think
There's that.
Stardew Valley is a good example of a developer who knows exactly what kind of game they want to make, and
Mm-hmm.
he really made it just for himself because he liked Harvest Moon and stuff like that, but he
Mm-hmm.
also liked dungeon crawling and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I'm just gonna put it together and make it a fantastic game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah, and Stardew Valley is a game that I have not explored enough. I have it, but like I think there's something about it being too much like Animal Crossing, cuz to be honest, I'm not a giant fan of Animal Crossing. I like the first one, but the ones after it I felt like it got a little too, well, we don't need to get too much into it, but like um I was kind of turned off to it, but I like it as like a language learning game because it offers so much language learning and some like
Uh huh.
different languages, and it has a whole bunch of dialogue, so that's like perfect. And I didn't even know that it was by one person, but it's fantastic. Even if it was developed by a team, man.
Yeah, Stardew Valley absolutely could have been a whole team um, game, and I would absolutely believe it. But yeah, it's made by one guy,
Mhm,
and I think he even wrote everything. And I think the thing that sets Stardew Valley apart from other like farming sims, like the newer Harvest Valley things, is it really goes out of its way to make you like all of the characters in the town and get to know
right.
them like a family almost.
Mhm,
And a lot of people like their specific people that they want to talk to all the time and who they
mhm,
really like and stuff like that. And
mhm.
it even has like a lot of um, cultural talk on it as well, in the sense of there's this big corporation called Joja Mart
Oh, I
that
remember
you
that.
work for at the beginning, and you're like a mindless drone, and you're like, I gotta fucking get out of here. You go work on you inherited a farm and you go on the farm, and then Joja Mart's in the town, and I think pretty consistently almost everybody goes with the route of saving the town and kicking Joja Mart out, because there is a version of the game where you side with Joja Mart almost, and you make them the shopping center of the
Mhm,
Stardew Valley town.
mhm,
But I think most people pretty consistently pick Pierre's local food, even though it's more expensive in the game,
mhm.
because you get to like Pierre as a person and as a friend in the game. And I
Uh,
think the fact that one person wrote the story plus all the gameplay is an incredible feat for such a fun game.
mhm. I think that just also goes back to what we were talking before the podcast is just like how getting to know people is just such a great way to move forward, because
Yeah.
when people like you, people want to, and this is actually what I've been listening to from the guy that I listen to that talks about the Tao all the time. He's like, when people like you and people like and you like bring people up around you, people will make you achieve, you know?
Yeah.
It's like
It's like they
almost
want
you
you to succeed.
yeah, exactly. People will make you succeed. Cuz like it's like if you're just like always working with and for people like to like be in their interests as well, your interests ultimately will also come to fruition as well.
Hmm.
But you don't even have to think of it like that. You just like move with the flow of everything. That's like the whole Taoist kind of thing. But that's what I kind of get from like just listening to talk about like Jojo Martin Pierre's store. Because like if everyone likes Pierre and everyone thinks Jojo is like a Biff sort of character, then of course you want Pierre to be the main market, right? But like I also that's kind of interesting that there's dungeon crawling in there too, because I
Yeah.
remember my brother talking about going into the caves and stuff there.
Yep. And
Is
it's
there
like
like
another,
bosses in
like,
there too?
there are not bosses. It's just a procedurally generated dungeon. But it definitely could have been added bosses, and that could have been a whole game by itself. Because the
Mm,
farming is incredibly fleshed out. The fishing is pretty well fleshed out. The
mm,
character story and areas are fleshed out, and then you have that dungeon crawling section, and it really is just like this guy liked all of these types of games, and they were never put together, so he just did it himself. And I
mm,
think a lot of solo game development comes from that inkling of knowing what kind of game you like
mm.
and just going out and making it.
You know, that reminds me so much of why I make music sometimes. It's like I want to listen to the music that I make because there's no other music like it.
Hmm.
I've thought about that specifically. You know, it's like the reason I create sometimes is because there's no other songs like the ones I create. And like, I can imagine that can also, I mean, other creatives probably have this exact same thought. It's like, why did I create Spirited Away? Because nobody else. Well, I mean, it's not solo Dave, but you know what I'm talking about. It's
Yeah, I know.
creatives.
Yeah,
So like there I think that's part of the main like drive to create too
yeah.
because
I think
there's
it's also
nothing
what
else
makes
like
a
it.
good product.
Oh yeah, like I think of some of the great pieces of art like one of my favorite films that I've seen recently was called what is the what do you call it? 工作室, the studio. It was like like Song of the Sea, Secret
Yes.
of Kells, and then the other one was The Breadwinner. Man, that studio makes some great films, man. Like Song of Seas, Song of the Sea, Song of the Seas. I forgot what it is. It was just one of the best movies I've ever seen. It's the music, the art, the story. Oh my god, it's so good. Like but there and this is the thing that I really don't like about like corporations taking games and like adding all this bullshit to it is that it starts really eating away at the personality of the game.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely. When
there
you make
is
it by committee, you lose all of that flavor that the main idea brings to the table because you're trying to get as many people to like it as you can,
mhm.
and it just dumbs it down to a point where sure a lot of people like it, but not a lot of people love it. Whereas
Yeah,
if you
see,
take just an idea and you're like, this is my idea and I'm giving it to you to explore, people love that stuff. That's why
yeah,
these indie games get such cult followings.
Yeah, see, and I would rather have a cult following. Well, I mean, like, you know, like I would rather have that cult following than that like generalized following.
Hmm.
But then there's games that do both that in such an amazing way that, you know, my Chinese uh, nephew knows about it. You know,
Yeah.
like Undertale. You know, Undertale is both overground and well, it's like mainstream and underground at the same time. You know, it's crazy, but like that's just what I really love about a lot of these solo dev games is that they're made by one person. So it that person like Toby Fox created everything in his image, you know? And that actually, you know, it's like the whole thing we were talking about before. I think it was like too many cooks.
Hmm.
Like it really does spoil the broth. And like but I mean, it depends. You if you have a certain synergy with the team, I think you could also create a great game like
Oh yeah,
as a
we're definitely not
team.
saying teams can't make gorgeous games. I mean, Hollow Knight's like a 4-person team
Hmm.
when it comes down to it,
Hmm.
and that's a
It's
phenomenal game.
I mean like because I think a lot of these well, I mean, but the thing is we're also talking about the cream of the crop, right?
True,
Like
there are
cuz there's
probably lots of
probably
solo games that don't make waves at
mhm.
all.
Yeah, it's almost like to me, okay. I just had a realization. It's kind of like how people say, like, why isn't there any good music anymore? Why isn't there music like in the 70s? It's like, well, okay, the music that we always hear on the radio, like the oldies and whatnot, that is the cream of the crop. You forget that when you go back into the record stores you had to sift through all the shitty music to find the pieces of gold, you know?
Hmm.
So like I think a lot of people that are so nostalgic about stuff like that, like for instance, like, you know, maybe I might say, "Oh, why isn't there any good games anymore? They don't make games like the Super Nintendo anymore." But I wouldn't say that because I remember getting some really, really shitty games that I would immediately bring back to Slackers, you know?
Yeah,
And they
there's a
would be
lot.
like, we can only give you like $1 for this. And I'm like, I don't care. You can throw it in the bin for all I care. Like, this game sucks dick ass.
Fucking
So,
shovelware.
what is it? Shovelware.
Shovelware is kind of what people call it when you're. It's usually at the end of a console's life cycle, and like the
Mhm.
first party people are moving on to the next console, but there's still all this just garbage games that are like the lowest
Mhm.
of the low, bare bones, just trying to make a buck. Shovelware that they're just
Uh-huh.
shoveling into the console at the end of the life cycle.
Oh yeah, like things like weird brands trying to like jump on the gravy train but don't realize that they're doing a horrible mistake. Kind of
Yep.
like what would a brand be that would do that? I don't know, like Gap Kids making like Dress Your Baby the game, you know?
Yeah, or any of
Like for
those. Yeah.
Wii. Like
Yeah,
something
the
like that.
Wii had, oh my God, so many of those. When you'd go
Mhm.
into GameStop and look at the wall of Wii games, it was
Mhm.
like, what is this? Imagine just Dressmaker?
Mhm. Or like Long John Silver's the game. Get the real experience of being like
A fry cook at Long John Silver's.
yeah of like a 17-year-old at Long John Silver's hating their life, you know. Like now with motion controls. So it's just like I that was another thing that I always thought was funny is like that these companies that didn't know how to make games but like just paid like I don't know like the cheapest team they could find to make a
Yep.
game. One of the things they would advertise on a system that was exactly made for that, they would advertise that as like one of the like the perks to it. There'd be like it's like Long John Silver's the game for Wii now with motion control. It's like, yeah, no shit. You know,
It better have those.
yeah. Like
No, that
so,
shit is bonkers. They really
uh,
did push lots of games like that. And if you browse through Steam's bargain sales, you will probably find hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of games developed by a single person
mm-hmm,
that are not very good.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
So
hopefully
that,
that person is learning something and maybe makes a really good one next time.
yeah, like I mean, like there's no like what is the word I'm looking at? Shame in just like failing. Like
Yeah.
I think pretty much everyone that has succeeded in life has done it on a giant like smeltering like festering pile of failure, you know. So
There's a
I
lot of
don't.
failures. And then I've found when you read through a lot of how these games come to be and stuff like that, there's a lot of luck when it comes to something just picking it up and making it its own thing. Just
Mhm,
this like, and even happens with like music and stuff. I think just
mhm,
that one radio play, that one radio that went, yeah, that guy's song, we need to pick that one up and play it, and suddenly it
mhm,
skyrockets into popularity, or they put it in a movie and it gets
mhm,
super popular and stuff like that. So
mhm,
if you just keep trying, you might get
mhm,
lucky.
mhm. Well, I mean, like it's not even luck. It's more like if you keep doing something, you get better because you're doing it and you're actually putting yourself out there. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like you really do gotta just like put yourself out there and let yourself like get completely like beaten up by the world because like it pretty much it doesn't matter what you do if you make like the best thing ever, like there's going to be people that hate it because it's the best thing ever, you
Fucking
know.
contrarians.
Yeah, like that's one thing I don't really that I started cuz like I was kind of a little bit of a hipster back in high school, and I remember a lot of my friends would be like my other hipster friends, they would be like, "Hey, let me see. Are you still there, Cody?"
We've temporarily lost
Oh
Laz.
no.
He was talking about his
Here
hipster
we go
friends.
again. I'm by myself.
Let's hope he comes back
Oh no.
because we have 8 minutes left. Man, I look great. For all you listeners out there, I hope you're listening this far in. Waiting to see if Laz comes back. Might have to close this one and open a new one. Invite him again. Possibly. Oh, is he coming back? Oh, I should have written down the time.
Hello, hello.
All right.
Mhm.
I remembered
Okay.
to pause it just now, but I did talk for a
Okay.
little bit.
Okay,
You
cool,
were
cool.
talking about your hipster friends.
Yeah, so like when I had hipster friends, like they would say things like oh we don't like they would like take shits on all these songs because everyone liked them and like you know Lady Gaga and whatnot back in my high school days, and I would just be like why do you have to hate on songs like I of course like the hipster music, you know, like I was into like Modest Mouse and Radiohead and all that stuff back in the day, but like why do you also have to shit on like Lady Gaga? Because like I loved Poker Face, and me I remember like coming back from somewhere like I think in Eureka or something, like one day me and Peter were in the car just like screaming that shit. Like we're just like don't make my poker space. Like I, and the other thing is like, this like tripster mindset too. It's like I want to go to places that no one has ever been to. It's like and I had that a lot with like going to like different places and different stuff, cities and whatnot. And I would just be like, let's just randomly go places and see what we can find. But the thing is, you forget that there's a lot of really, really boring parts of cities.
Yeah.
Like, just like, it's like, oh, fun. We're at the industrial park where they recycle iron. And like every city has one of those. And it's like,
and
wow,
there's a reason places
that
become tourist traps, because there's something cool there.
Mm-hmm. But you can find some places. You just like sometimes you got to do it through locals more likely. But I mean, if you stay in a city long enough, you just kind of like just randomly walk around enough to become kind of a local, kind of like how I was with Xiamen. But let's see, going back to solo game development, like I'm pretty sure that is the main thing I like about solo dev games is that they really have just a uniqueness to them a lot of times. Like think about Undertale, Cave Story, Roller Coaster Tycoon, maybe not. I mean, is Roller Coaster Tycoon the first of its kind? Because I mean, it's more. It's
I think so. I think Zoo Tycoon and stuff came up after Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Well, then there's SimCity. That's pretty much. I'm pretty sure SimCity came out before.
I think SimCity was first.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that old pixel version.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play that back in Australia. A friend and I played that a lot.
Oh, I never, like, the oldest game that I probably played was like Oregon Trail.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that was, I thought that was always the funniest thing ever. Is just like, like try, because that's another example of me and my brother playing, like being like little shits about playing games. Like, how in the beginning of Oregon Trail you just like you bought all your supplies to go out. I was just like, one time I was just like, you're gonna only survive on bacon. We're gonna use all $15,000 on bacon. and then it would be
make your bacon rafts, make your bacon carts.
Yeah, you get thirsty, bacon smoothies. Like, and I just remember like going like 2 miles, and it's like Grandpa died, and it's like, really? Grandpa died like 2 miles in with the bacon train? Come on.
This bacon train is we're keeping going.
Yeah, it's like, well, I mean, I kind of understand the dysentery at this point, but like, but I just love playing games like that, like being like spiteful about games and just like playing them in ways where it's like, like everyone dies or something. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm the kind of guy that like I play Grand Theft Auto for the glitches. Yeah, because the glitches are just so hilarious in that game. Oh my god, I love that.
I think that's a good note to wrap the episode on, though, is that solo game devs have so much personality and it makes them stand out. Good solo game dev games.
Yeah. Like,
if you're a solo game developer and you're listening to this, shoot us a DM. We'd love to have you on the podcast. We like talking to game developers.
Yeah.
Last week we had one on.
Yeah. Like, I love everyone, but I love solo game developers even more than people that are close to me. Like my Siamese brother. I never saw him because he was surgically removed from me at birth. I'm just kidding. That never happened.
Follow us on Instagram at Across the Other Pond. Right? That's us. I think that's us. That's us. It's in the description. Follow us on YouTube. Subscribe.
Give us a like. give us
5
a
stars
like,
on
and then maybe give us a
iTunes.
like, and then like give us a comment, send us a comment, like tell us a comment on something,
Yeah. And next week we're talking about Legend of Zelda. We're gonna start the Legend of Zelda month.
Woo. And also goodbye.
We're hopping back in the pond. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Bye.